Well, welcome to the Bitcoin mining meetup, brought to you by Compass Mining and the space. Kind of. Tell them they can eat over here. And if you were watching on the live stream, we're just trickling in here because I lost track of time. Sorry about that. Thanks for watching, guys. Everyone say hey to the live stream. There's a camera up there. Hey, live
How's
stream.
it going?
I'm Tatum, yeah. We do have a raffle while we're getting all ready to go. We do have a raffle for this S19 right here. Lior is walking around with tickets. Everyone got a ticket? Cool. At the end, we will do that drawing after you fill out a survey that I will force you to do. But we're going to keep it pretty tight. It's going to just, same thing, loose conversation. We want this to be conversational. So if y'all got questions that are relevant, raise your hand. But yeah, let's get started with our hot mining jobs. Compass Mining is looking again still for a data center tech in Silverton, Texas and Crockett, Texas, and also site lead in Silverton. So if you know anyone around I think that's close to Houston, I want to say. Anyone around there in Texas that you think might enjoy that, tell them to check it out. And if y'all got any questions about these mining jobs, feel free to hit me up. We also have a foundry job, a mining technician. Never mind, sorry. Got a thumbs down for the audience.
Position filled.
And also another data center tech with Riot in Rockdale, Texas. One of these days, we're going to get more local guys. Don't worry, that energy is coming to Denver. Today, I have with me Miss Heather Pierce and Sean Reese of Print Crypto and Compass Mining. I said that out of order. Sorry. Heather, give us a little bit about yourself. Give us a little introduction on who you are.
Hi, I'm Heather. I work with Compass Mining in the Managed Services Division. So I work in finding power, selling power, so looking for sites for miners as they're expanding their farms. So if you need 10 megawatts or 100 megawatts of power, you would call me and I would go out, find that power, kind of vet it out, do the due diligence on it, and see if that site works for you. And then also selling the operations. So if you have your farm and you want to need someone to help do the day-to-day operations on that, then I would help you work through that with Compass, and we could do those operations day-to-day.
So you only specialize in 10 megawatt facilities or 100 megawatt facilities, basically?
No.
Anywhere in between.
We can
as well.
go up to like a gigawatt.
And beyond.
Tatum.
Okay, cool,
Yeah.
sweet. It's everything. Phew. I thought we were just limited to this.
Sorry, Tatum, didn't mean to limit myself there.
No, Heather's amazing. Thank you for all you do with us. And our guest of honor, Sean Reese with Print Crypto, is here. Tell us a little about Sean. Who is Sean?
Yeah, as Tatum said, my name's Sean Reese. I'm the COO of Print Crypto. I very much appreciate the invitation and the offer to be here to kind of talk about what it is that we do. Print Crypto, we started out in retail mining. We were buyers and resellers of both new and used equipment, circa 2019, 2020. My good friend of mine and my partner, the CEO, Stephen Buckle, out of Austin, started 1, 2, 3, 4 miners at a time, selling on places like Facebook, selling on places like eBay, had a good following on eBay for a while. And then as things started to grow, we found that there was this desperate need for individuals, retail customers, with 1, 2, 5 machines to have a place to put their machine. That seemed to be a void in the market at the time. I'm an engineer by trade. I had actually purchased machines from Stephen on a whim, and we kind of established a friendship, and when the opportunity was right, he asked me if I wanted to join the company and develop our first hosting operation, which was an experience, I'll tell you that. It was a lot of lessons learned. There's never the right way to do something, but there's a lot of wrong ways to do things, and I feel like that's the best way to learn. We learned with our machines, with my machines plugged into our first mine, and that was kind of our goal, was to service the guys with 1 to 5 machines. Since then, we feel like we have a pretty good following now, and we have some enterprise customers. We still have some guys who I can go back and I can find emails from 2020. Well, a good friend of mine now, just a while back we were talking about it, and one of his first emails to me was, well, this thing got here, how do I turn it on? And that's really, I wouldn't say ages us, because crypto is rather new still.
It gives you perspective, though, for sure.
But it absolutely gives you perspective, and it makes you appreciate those things. And now, we've had customers who've been very successful. We've had customers who've been less successful. But I feel like along the way, we've always tried to be there to support them.
Awesome. And speaking of your story, someone said they got the miner. How do you turn it on? Thank you to Charlie Glahe, who was here and won a miner last time, for telling me, hey, I need a cord. Whoever wins this one, you're getting a cord tonight, because I remembered it. So everyone say thanks to Charlie whenever you see him. That's actually a really good segue into our first topic I want to talk about, and that is just milestones that you look for, because it sounds like you started out small, and now obviously with this picture of several containers, that's not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 machines. That's a whole lot of them. So what were some of those milestones that you saw, and what are some that like you look for now that have changed since you started, I guess?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we go back to the very beginning. I remember when we first set up our first operation, it started out as cold calls, as maybe ironic as that is, cold calling local utilities, cold calling co-ops, and just kind of learning as you leave voicemails and learning as people do or don't call you back, if these are the things maybe I shouldn't say next time I leave a voicemail, right? Or this is something I said this person.
You hang up the call and you're like, oh, I shouldn't have said all that.
Yeah, let's write that one down as not say. But when you're starting off, when you're starting a fresh operation, our first operation was a little over 3 megawatts. I guess it's really just kind of pace yourself. Like, that's kind of one of the big things. As I said, my partner Steven is very understanding, and also we have kind of an inside joke that I tell him all the time. I love to spend our money, and trying something new. But it's really important to pace yourself, and those are things that you grow into. No one wants to get in the position that you jump in both feet and it's the water's too deep, right? And I think that you can always scale. But sometimes you you might get in a spot where your operation isn't going to be as large as you thought, which is okay. But I have a $150,000 transformer that I need. Otherwise, I can't get anything on. So I think that one of the first things I like to look at and think about is understanding what my end target is and understanding where I am right now.
On our call, and kind of what you said with your size may not be what you initially thought. You talked about being okay with losing some of that initial capital, which, I mean, it's a scary thing to be like, hey, can I have some money? It may or may not make more money, but what does that look like? Like, how intense is the capital allocation, and where does that fall short? Like, how scary was it when you were, I guess, trying to allocate that capital?
Right. Well, the first mine, my first mine, I actually built in my parents' basement, and I built it out of stuff you'd buy from Home Depot, old school style. And the capital outlay for something like that is, relatively moderate or very small. It tracks with where you are usually and what you can afford, what your credit card can accept. However, when you take the step into a site like that's on the pictures here, I guess it's behind me. That site there is a little over 7 megawatts. A development of that size is $2 to $2.5 million, kind of depending on where you're falling with the land purchase and deposits and stuff like that. So when we talk about what kind of capital do we want exposed, sometimes it is okay to lose money. Right. And what I think is really important is to kind of understand the larger philosophy here, and where can we adjust risk, and where can we have the conversation again about what are we comfortable with, and where are we starting to exceed our comfort level, right? With our first site, which was 3 megawatts, it took a while to build, and we built it slow. And by taking the right approach, we're able to mitigate a lot of those issues. However, in today's market, when you have people floating the ideas of 10, 20, 30 megawatt builds, a lot of times we see either investors or we see counterparties to agreements who don't fully understand what capital is going to be required. One of the things that obviously we struggle with in our market is the ability to loan or to lend. And there have been multiple times when people just aren't able to finish projects because they didn't have a good understanding of that.
And Heather, on your side of things, what are some milestones that might be maybe similar, maybe different to what he said on when you're like looking for sites? Like, what are some like green flags that just like make your brainwaves like, oh yeah, this is the site? Like, do you have any of those, or what are you looking for really?
I mean, a green flag is we don't have to build a substation.
It's a major green flag.
We, the power is below 4.5 cents, those sorts of green flags. We don't have to build a substation, I guess, is the one thing that the miners want. That's a long-term project and long-term wait on supplies and materials and a cost for them. So that's the first thing that, most of my miners will say is, this is what I'm looking for. That's the dream, right? I want 100 megawatts. I don't want to have to build a substation. Can I get that in 4.5 cents or maybe under 4? That's the dream ask every day. So, and so building that substation requires a time. And right now, like in most places, that's 18 to 24 months to get that built. And if not longer, depending upon where you are. And so we just have a supply and demand issue there. And so I would say that's the main thing there. And then everyone wants that under 4 and 4.5 is sort of that ask. So looking for that, and then making sure that when I'm working with a seller and they say, I own the land, I have an option on the land, they can prove that they own the land. That's always a green flag for me too. It's an easier thing to work through when you know that they've got that land. And I know that sounds kind of silly, but I work with a lot of people that tell me things that they don't actually have.
I might have the land. I don't know how they do it.
There's land there last week.
Yeah. So, that they have ownership, or so that's those are some green flags for me that we can move forward with a project.
Well, I'd like to add to something that Heather kind of touched on there for a moment. In the great state of Texas, right, in the deregulated market, one of the changes that came from utilities this last year was the ability to prove that you can control the land, right? And this is something that caused a lot of problems in the market. We had people who, we used to call it tire kicking, but they would literally drive down the road. They'd identify a substation or some area where they thought an old industrial park, there's probably power on the lines, and they would start submitting these requests for power. And it really bottlenecked. I think that I don't ever want to say something was malicious or done intentionally, but there was a lot of opportunity out there. And now we see the utilities have kind of gotten wise to it, and they require the ability for us to prove we have site control, right? It seems like a very, very decent and reasonable expectation. Oh, I want to buy a car.
Seems common sense.
Yeah, prove to me you can drive. Like, that's a good place to start, right? Prove to me you can make the payment. But more so than that, I think that when we're looking to develop a site, which is one of the services we offer now, is actually developing for customers who have the desire and the capability to fund a build, but maybe don't necessarily have boots on the ground. One of the things that I think is really important to identify is, what is it that you want to do? Are you for certain that you have control of this area or the ability to control it? And what's your realistic timeline?
That's a great segue into our next topic, actually.
You are welcome.
Unintentional. I got these notes before.
But yeah, once you get that milestone, that's like that initial first goal, that's not where it ends. Like, it's not like a success all around. There's going to be continual challenges. There's operations. What are some of those continual challenges that you see? And I really like to chuckle. I know that you just had like flashbacks go through. That's just
going to be a late
thing.
night, guys. Oh man, continuing challenges. I think the one that's like probably most overwhelming when we're in a situation where we have, let's say, an investor or a partner, right? And they ask the question, is the development budget done yet? And that's always like, I don't mind you asking, am I done spending your money? But it's the yet there at the end. So I think what I'm getting to there is like, it's very hard when you're developing a site to be actually done, right? I mean, you might have been online for a month or a month and a half, and there's still things that come up. And believe it or not, things are really inefficient to pay for when everybody's gone home. The fence contractor left a month ago. The electrician hasn't been here in 2 months because we're now plugged in. Oh, hey, by the way, we need 120 volt power at the street. Well, what would have cost us $1,000 is now going to cost us $7,000 because we have to completely remobilize the electrician and to hang a can.
So there's kind of like an order of operations.
Oh, absolutely. So that's like one of the biggest things I think that really makes things difficult, makes the development difficult, or can make it difficult is, what is our true end date? Where are we going to kind of draw the line in the sand and say that we're finished? And a big portion, one of the things that we've tried to follow very closely is, this is the development stage, and now we're going to move into operations. And of course, there's always bills that show up late, but that's just one of the things you live and learn as you move through it.
Yeah, and Heather, is there also a similar order of operations to what you're doing? Like, how involved are you, like, once things start rolling? Like, is there stuff that comes up that could catastrophically just end the whole thing, or is there stuff that works around? Like, what's that look like on your end with continual challenges?
Absolutely. So, so in my role at Compass, so let's say my client calls and says, hey, I want to, I'm looking for this amount of power. I'm looking for 50 megawatts of power. And so then I start that process, but then we get into it and, we're on a call with this client. Again, the seller tells me that it's 50 megawatts. It's actually not 50 megawatts. It's maybe 30 megawatts on a good day. We still have to have a load study to get the rest of that 20 megawatts
Everyone
up
has
and
like
running.
a different level of information.
Yeah, so not everything is quite clear. And so then, that what was going to be 50 megawatts is now 30 megawatts. We still don't know if that's going to happen.
But it's the same price.
It's the same price. And so, then that's delayed, right? So then it's going back to, the client and saying, okay, well, do you still want that? Are you still interested in that? Do you want to wait for that load study to get done? Right. So then we kind of got to go back and start the process again, because we got to walk through if that's going to even work on their timeline to go through that. So again, we work with a lot of misinformation.
So you like start and then it's like, okay, let's back up when we have, this is what I need. And then it's kind of like a start over-ish kind of deal, like fill in the blanks kind of.
Yeah, because not everything comes to you with a full set of, hey, this is all complete, everything's done, walk away.
I'm sure something else is different every single situation too.
Everything's done. Yeah, different.
Yeah. Were you about to add something?
Yeah, I was just say that right along those lines, the ability to have like an effective conversation with the seller. That's one thing that, I appreciate Heather in her role with Compass and something she's always brought. I think that, we've had several deals together. I've probably looked at 20 or 30 different sites. Some of them we move on, some of them we pass on. But the ability to directly communicate with the person that's selling the goods. It seems like in our market or in our industry, oftentimes there's someone that's holding something close to the chest and they don't want to tell it. Whether it's a fear of being undercut, whether it's a fear of it ruining the deal, whether it's the fear of the unknown can be a big issue. I think that it's very important to just to be upfront. If I have
Transparency is key.
Yeah, because it's going to come out, and we all want it to come out before we're ready
Right,
to
it's
turn
better
on.
now
100%.
than a couple months later. Yeah.
100%.
Exactly, and I think that we're starting to get to the point. There's some real powerful players in the market, and a lot of good companies are working together now, kind of hand in glove. And we're starting to get to that point now where some of those tendencies to withhold information or to be very secure with something is starting to evaporate. And I think that's a really good thing for the space. I think it's it's great for people to have an ongoing relationship and you be able to just say, this is the good, bad, and the ugly about this site. I want you to know now, this is what I'm asking for it. And now let's have a conversation about it. Is it feasible for you to do?
So from that point, one thing that you brought up in our previous call was the adaptability and the team dynamics, because you said now you're not as boots on the ground as you once were. And like, I'm kind of in that range where, I talk about being on the field all the time, and now I'm like, I'm kind of old, but and I don't want to do all that. But sorry, guys. But what is that? How important is adaptability to those situations that could flip overnight? It could flip in the middle of the night. Like, what's a key thing that you're looking for in teams that you work with regarding adaptability, that like something that they might need to change? Like, how important is that?
Yeah, adaptability in most every market is pretty important. I feel like that the mining and the hosting space, it's really paramount. I give a big hats off to one of my site managers, Sean Buckle, and he honestly, I'll tell you a funny story about Sean. When Sean came on to join us, he was from the railway, and there were times when 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm having conversations with overseas partners, or I'm working on something, and I get this idea. I get a question I have for Sean. So I would text him, I would email him, and I would say, hey, go count how many cords we have, or how many open spaces do we have in pod 5, or whatever it is, whatever this dumb question is, or how many control boards do I need? I'm ordering a box. There for a while, 10 minutes later, I would get I'll let you know here in just a minute. I'm like, I am going to burn you out, man. Like, go home, like, get some sleep. And, that ambition and that drive is very good. And that's a very good dynamic, because he was willing to put in the extra time. But I think that as a manager, or as someone who's overseeing several of these operations, we have to be very aware of the fact that, man, our techs, we'll chew them up and spit them out. And I started as a tech on our first site that we built it. I was in the guy loading the machines and fixing the machines and replacing fans. We can all beat ourselves up and run ourselves down. But if you get a new guy in and you train him, and then you don't give him the space to get away, that can be really detrimental to your organization. So I think one of the real key aspects of running an operation is respecting that personal time and giving the guys an ability to get away. It's like the mail; it never stops. The problems never stop.
Yeah, while it is admirable for someone to be ready to go give you an answer at 1 a.m., like, that is something that I've had trouble with having to do myself, is draw a line in the sand. Like, if Shannon Squires texts me at 2 a.m., he's texting me at 2 a.m. so I see it when I wake up, but my mind is like, I have to prove myself. You got to step back every now and then. And now I'm like, Shannon, shut up. No, I'm just kidding. Love you, Shannon. I know you're watching. A team dynamic is very...
You're going to pay for that tomorrow.
Oh, God. Sorry, Shannon. I can't wait for him to watch this recording. It's great. But yeah, in every industry, team dynamic is huge. But obviously in ours, it's like... it's on a different level of adaptability and ready for anything. One of my favorite stories that I tell is one of the first site actually that I was involved in setting up was in Oklahoma, and all the switches were daisy chained. And we walked in, they were like, hey, this is a problem. And they were like, no, it's not. I was like, yeah, it is. And once we got that all clear to wire ourselves, we were out there at 11 o'clock. At night, we pulled our truck in between the containers, blasted the music, and rewired that sucker until 3 a.m. And we were all ready to go to bed, but we got that all clear, and we were like, let's go ahead and knock it out. And honestly, it was one of my most fond memories of Bitcoin mining. But
the war stories in the trenches.
Oh man,
it was snowing as well, guys, in South Texas.
Fun
July.
Fact,
it was hot and snowing.
I moved to Denver and I had been through a full Denver winter with no problems. I'm from the South, so the snow and everything was brand new to me, and I was fine. I went to McAllister, found the one 1 square inch ice patch and completely went parallel to the ground. And I was like, you know what? I need to leave this place. But that's the war stories right there. Like, it sucks.
I mean, if we're telling stories. So
Go right ahead, please.
So we're talking about team dynamic. We have some guys who work with us who are amazing, hard workers, but they're new to the space. I mean, some of these guys, when they first started, we got them in there and they're unboxing machines, they're racking machines, and they have interest and they have desire and they want to learn. Okay, great. So we're going to teach you about this Bitcoin thing and see if it goes somewhere. And I'll jump to the end of the story. They've all actually now been Antminer certified to do hot rework. So as terrible
That's awesome.
Right. So as terrible as this story is going to start, it actually has a happy ending. So we have this one guy and his name's Eddie, and we get him on the computer and we're trying to show him how to map some machines, and he's like hesitant to touch the mouse. And he's 45 years old or so, and we're like, just click here, click here, click here, and he's like hesitant to touch it. And I realized that this guy has never operated a computer, like ever. He didn't have an email. And I was like, what have I gotten myself into? Well, it turns out that Eddie has a CDL. It turns out that in a previous life, Eddie was a journeyman electrician. It turns out in a previous life, Eddie worked graveyards. It turns out...
This is an insane serendipity moment right here.
Right? And so, like, looking back on it, I am so thankful that I didn't see that and just pull the cord. Like, this is not going to work. We are in Bitcoin. If you can't run a computer, you can't be in Bitcoin. That is not true. I'm happy to say that I was wrong to think that at one point, because I have a guy who works for us now. He's been with us for over a year, started out, again, unable to run a computer, but had the desire to learn, has an amazing set of back-end skills that we abuse all the time. I mean, a guy who's an electrician, likes graveyard, and can drive a semi?
Yeah, that's a Bitcoin miner for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Needs to be. And now, a year and a half later, he's doing hot reworks on hashboards on, $7,000-8,000 machines. I mean, thank you, Eddie. You're not watching this, but that's something that is really important with team dynamic, is that we need to sit back and understand what are people good at and bad at, but also what are they willing to learn.
I'm clipping this. That was a great little story right there. Everyone can be a Bitcoin miner, knowing how to work a computer or not. Thank you for that. That's great. We're going to go to our next point, and this kind of you touched on this a little bit about how conversations change. Like, you started out trying to tell your close friends, like, "Hey, I got this idea," and now you're talking to Compass Mining, about operations and stuff like that. So, how do those conversations change, and how have you? How has it adapted your, I guess, communication skills? Like, what are you, like, who's the main types of parties that you're talking to now? Because you're not trying to convince your best friend, like, hey, let's start a site. Like, you're reaching out to these businesses and third party, like, utilities, stuff like that. So what does that look like as the conversations have adapted and evolved?
Well, and like I said, I'm an engineer by trade, so my communication skills are never top notch. And I have been accused of being blunt or too aggressive or arrogant at times. Where's Neil at? There he is, right there. But again, when it comes to how conversations change over time, I think a lot of it is both within ourselves and how we learn. Back to the conversation or the comment earlier about cold calling utilities and co-ops, trying to beg them to give me power, right? Things you do and don't say. But also, as a site evolves and as you move through milestones, there's going to be hard conversations. There's going to be things that come up that no one wants to talk about. There's going to be delays. And I think that it's just really important to hit it right on the head, just right as it comes out.
Seems like an overarching theme.
Well, I mean,
it's so much better to know something's going wrong now than tomorrow.
So one of the things I always share with whether it's a prospective customer, prospective client, investor, partner, or whatever it is, The only thing in Bitcoin mining that I can't get back is time. That is it, right? I mean, the price can move up and down, difficulty can move up and down, price of machines can move up. I can gain all that stuff back. I might have machines now that are unprofitable that will be profitable again in 6 months. We don't know. But the time between now and that 6 months in the future, if I'm not mining, that's the one thing I can't get back. We have a ticking down clock by architecture, right? So when we have problems that come up and we share them, we're able to have that conversation. By the way, we have a 4-month delay because the Bohr company hit the 36-inch water main twice. That's a true story. What do you mean he hit the water main? I mean, he made a small lake. Go back a slide, would you, actually? Where is it at? Right there. So on this site, you can actually see the hole. I flew this site with my drone forever ago, but that is the hole right there in the top corner. The Bohr contractor came out on site, hit a 36-inch water main twice. Hit it going and hit it coming back. So what you can't see in this picture, it might be dried up by this point, is he made a small 10-acre lake. And the city of Midland, Texas had to get water somewhere else. I mean, I don't know what else to say. But that's one of those things, like, I got the call in the middle of the day, and that's the first thing. What do you mean he hit the water line? But again, the team is able to come right up front and say, this happened, how are we going to mitigate it? Because everyone on the team understands delays happen, accidents happen, but time we cannot get back. So we need to be upfront about stuff.
Hit it once, shame on you. Hit it twice, won't get fooled again, or something. I don't. Yeah, we're talking to the man who brought Midland, Texas to its knees with water. That's actually a crazy story. Heather, on your communication, I know.
Wait a second. I wasn't running the
Oh, wait, yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
No. Nice
This
try.
Is not
It wasn't
him,
his
not
try.
him. This is not your guy, Midland.
There's a new position at Compass that's now available.
This is going great. Heather, what is your, like, how many different parties do you talk to? Because I know you said that people are looking for sites, but then I'm sure that's not, you don't have a catalog of sites that you just have like ready to sign over or anything like that. I mean, not like in the sense of like.
Why haven't I seen that?
Like how many parties are you
Tatum.
involved in?
So, I mean, I do have, I have a list of sites. We have a list of sellers that we're working with. And then we also have buyers, a list of buyers that we're working with. And these may be like clients that Compass has had that have been hosting with us that maybe have, their fleet has kind of outgrowing us. And it will be more profitable for them to have their own site. So we're helping them kind of expand that way. And then maybe other buyers that have just come to us. And then that are looking for sites, and then I'm just trying to help them find
And
their
so
sites.
you're also on the other side making sure that you can accommodate, like it's almost like you're looking for a perfect marriage. Is that what you're talking?
Yeah, that's a way to say it, yes. And then also, I'm looking for Compass, right? We've got to grow our vertical. So, we're looking to grow our vertical, and then I'm looking for these sellers to help them sell their sites, and then these buyers to help them buy. So, I mean, making that perfect marriage of who has that 50 megawatt site, who's looking for that 50 megawatt site, and making sure it is actually 50 megawatts, and then how can we make that all work, and then putting that kind of piece together, and and then as Sean was saying, connecting the sellers and the buyers is the best way for me to do that. Like everybody talking it through and making sure that it works for everyone and that they're all comfortable with each other. I think that's really important for me, that the buyers and sellers are comfortable with each other and that they're all on board for this transaction, because that's going to make this all go the best way possible and the fastest way possible.
Yeah, and what I meant was like you can't go to a shop and Heather's there like, hey, what can I do for you? You need 50 megawatts? Yeah, sure.
No,
like,
that's not how it works.
How long, like how hard is it to find that quote unquote perfect marriage? Like is it just a cut and dry like, oh, you need this? Well, I have someone with this, or is it like I need to really like dig into this and see like where we can.
I wish it was that easy, Tato. Karun, don't you wish it was that easy?
You're going to turn into a Compass therapy session or something.
No, it's not. I mean, sometimes, we do have people that, kind of come to us and it is like we do have something there, but most of the time it's, 2 or 3 months. Sean, how long can it be? It can be a while before we find that site that, really actually fits all those parameters. And, they may come to me and say, oh, I want 100 megawatts or I want 10 megawatts, right? And then I just have to kind of go out and find who has that and that fits what they want. And if it's ready, and if it is, hey, I want to actually turnkey, I want 10 megawatts ready to go, already built. And so we can go out and find that as well. But it can take, if it was ready, that's fantastic, but it can take 4-6 months. Easy.
Yeah, I mean, I think looking back on one of the deals that we did, it was actually prior to Heather coming to Compass, but she brought us a site, and looking back on it, it was about perfect. It was the capacity we were looking for, it was the size we were looking for, a timeline, everything. Like, going back on it, there's very, very few things that I could think that could have been better. And it took 6 months. It took 6 months to close it. From the time that Heather brought us the site, I want to say it was late June of 23. We actually closed the deal to buy the site first part of November, so that was 5 months. And then it took another month to fully strip the land and develop it and get it to actually start becoming a Bitcoin mine. And things take time, and there's always this idea of, if I just spend more money, then I can find the perfect thing, right? Or I don't want to let this opportunity slip me by because there's not going to be another one. But I think that in reality, there's 4, 5, 6 sites a week that I look at that I pass on for location or price of power or timeline, whatever it is. Just in a bad mood that day, whatever. And to think about what Heather actually processes in a week, there's a lot of opportunity out there, and I think that it's just really important that you take the time to identify what you're looking for, what works for you, what your budget is, and then move forward with full force once you find that opportunity.
And you said that was 6 months with that almost Goldilocks scenario. That wasn't 6 months till y'all were hashing, was it? Like, y'all had a lot more after that?
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah.
that was 6 months before, from the time we first saw the site until we signed the paper and actually owned the property and were able to actually move in and start developing. Then the utility hit the water line twice, which cost us 6 weeks. So it was June to March.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people I don't think really fully grasp is, like, there's a lot of cooks in the kitchen, guys. Like, have y'all ever tried to agree on something like just one-on-one and then imagine that like 10 times worse with a bunch of the most stubborn people ever?
And we all know how to do it right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no
like,
one
I'm
else
not the
does.
stubborn
Yeah.
one, okay,
Yeah,
guys?
It's not me.
He's the stubborn one. Oh, no, I'm just kidding. But yeah, no, it takes time, and you can only do so much. Like, you can control what you can, and then it's like a lot of other stuff is just left to, it's hurry up and wait, basically, in Bitcoin mining.
And Heather, what is the worst words to hear out of someone you're selling a site for? What is the worst thing they can say?
Well, I don't know. What is it?
Load study not started
yeah.
yet.
The load study's not started.
I mean, like, in all seriousness, we also have to understand the fact that the utilities, a year, 6 months at best.
Can you break that down? We're actually, thank God for that clock, actually. It's really helpful, Zach. We do need to keep that there. But we're doing really good on time. And I want to ask you, like, why is that the worst words that you can hear? It's load study not started.
Because I'm going to make up a load ramp, because everybody knows I want to go from 0 to 10 megawatts the next day. And I'll do that. Like, if the electrician lets me, or if the machines are there, we'll go from a 0 to 1. Billing period starts on the 6th. 100% hash rate on the 7th, guys. Like, let's go.
Practicality stands in the way there.
Exactly. So I think that what we have to understand is that there's a process there, and things take time. I'm sorry. What was the first part of that question?
Load study.
Why is load study?
Load
Yeah.
study. Thank you. So we all have this ambition to come online immediately, right? And that's what we want to do. But I'm going to make up a load study, and I'm going to say, oh yeah, guys, I'm going to bring on 5 megawatts the first month and 5 megawatts the second month, and then it's all going to be fine. Well, then we submit that to the utility, and it disappears into the black ether of this amazing system that is, in our case, a deregulated great state of Texas, and it sits there for months, and I don't know what they're doing. I'm sure they're doing very important things, but to me, they're not doing important things.
Doing
and
your
that's-
thing.
What's that?
They're not doing your thing.
They're not doing the important things, but there are things that have to be taken into account. Make sure that we don't run out of power. We don't have brownouts or disruptions on the grid. But that is an area that cannot be influenced. So you submit a load request, and by golly, they will get it done. I honestly can say that I have never heard of a load request that was submitted that no response came back. Okay? Now, I have heard of some travesties, though, right? We're
There's
talking
a lot that happens between that no load study and load study.
30 months of them doing very important things. I mean, I've heard the horror stories, right? I mean, a little slower, guys. We almost got to the halving, right?
Guys, the cycle is almost done. Please hurry up.
We were planning a refresh anyway, but that it's important to keep in mind that there's things that are outside of our control, and that's a big one.
Yeah, that's a huge thing. Do you want to add to that?
No, I was just going to say, and these load studies just, can take 6 months, 12 months, 18 months.
What's the quickest load study y'all have heard? Like 6 months or?
So I'm sure there's fast.
I mean,
ones
yeah,
out
the
there.
one that like initiates after your
Yeah.
request.
So let's put this in perspective. I submitted a fresh load study 2 weeks before Christmas. So December 11th of 24. I have not even heard back if they've received it. I'm serious.
It'll get done.
I mean, they have
It will,
received it. We know. We actually take that back. We get an automated reply that says, "Thank you for your submission," and then that's it.
Yeah.
You might want to go follow up on that real quick.
I mean, we're a day away from 9 months.
Yeah.
And it's just out there, and eventually it'll come back. So now, if I'm out trying to sell this site, and I've got a customer, and Heather's going to go sell it for me, and the customer has machines and money. Oh, hey, Mr. Customer, you need to wait 9 months. And I'm sure that Heather hates to hear that. Like, oh, what do you mean we have a site we're trying to sell and we don't know when their power's going to be there, or how much power is going to be there?
Yeah. It's just a guess, right? We're just kind of waiting to them to tell us how much it is. And that's not an expensive, not a cheap thing, right? We're paying a lot of money for that load study.
Yeah, I would say that anyone who's interested in doing a real load study, especially like a transmission level load study, you need to look up if you're in Texas, the Texas Senate Bill 6, right? And there's some really good references out there. I'm not a huge fan of some of the commentary on it, but take a little bit of time if you're interested in running in Texas. I think Ohio is actually implementing a very similar thing. So it's Texas Senate Bill 6. It's something really important to understand.
I'll have to look into that. I appreciate that. Well, we're going to open it up now to audience Q&A. I know there was a lot that just happened right here. Does anyone have any sort of questions for Heather or Sean just initially based off of our conversation here? Damn, this is the first time. Oh. Wait, what? Do we have a wireless? Oh, you were going to plug it in. Well, I don't think you need to do that. This is actually the first time that we haven't had questions. Y'all are scared.
There we go. Got one in the back.
Oh, wait, we got a question? Oh, well, okay.
I know like megawatts is the unit of measurement, but
Yep.
what's like the smallest site that you consider, and then on the other side the largest?
So I
This
actually,
building. No, what?
Right? Actually, in this building, we could fit 4 or 5 megawatts. And we're nice and dense. That's an absolutely excellent question. I have a customer who's overseas, who I just submitted a proposal for 850 kilowatts. The other day, they asked us to come in and do a development for them. So our intent is to do soup to nuts, turnkey. Right now, it's green pasture or brown pasture in West Texas. And on a build like that, probably 3 weeks or 4 weeks, we'll turn it into ready for machines.
How much power did you say?
850 kW. So less than a megawatt. But we can go as small as you want. Honestly, I think that the only thing that really starts to hurt you long term is return on investment because you're non-recurrings, right? If for example, you're going to develop a 1 megawatt site, right? And this gentleman here in the front is going to develop a 5 megawatt site. We're probably going to have the same land clearing costs. We're going to have the same road and entrance costs. We're going to have the same utility costs. We're going to have the same fencing costs, right? And same. He has 5 times the revenue that you do, right? So that's actually one of the things that I highly encourage, and one of the things that we just did on one of our sites.
It's almost like there's a threshold where it makes sense of what power you're bringing.
For an investor or for someone looking for, but if you only have a megawatt, you only have a megawatt. That's just how it is, and that's okay. There is no mine too small. It's just we have to be upfront and understand that you're going to hook up and build that site, and it might cost you $400,000 a megawatt, right? Just putting a number out there. But a guy who does a 5 megawatt site, it's $1.2 million for the full site, right? So you're $200,000 or $220,000 a megawatt, but the same build went into both. It's just you both have $200,000 of non-recurring costs you can't get away from. So one of the things I highly encourage, especially if there's a long-term development plan, is to go in the first time and do all of the development. Don't come in, especially from a repair and a machine point of view down the road, don't come in and develop just a portion of your lot. If you truly are anticipating an expansion, rip the Band-Aid off, do the full development, put all your fence in, get some of your underground lines in, get your ancillary power in, and that way when you want to come and do your expansion, it's just setting containers and transformers.
You write all that down, by the way? Cool.
So getting megawatts, kilowatts, all that stuff. Do you guys do anything with like natural gas mines, or are you strictly like we want to be able to plug in?
No, yeah. So flare natural gas is an excellent opportunity. I mean, it's obviously a great use of a natural resource. There's also benefits to the person who's flaring it. They're avoiding EPA fees. They're avoiding fines. They're avoiding toxic chemicals being released. They can otherwise be contained or used with a catalytic converter or whatever else on a generator. The issue with natural gas is there enough gas tomorrow? That's always the problem. Okay. So to put in perspective, when you take full knockdown on a typical generator or genset, you're looking 250 to 280 MCF per day per megawatt, right? Now, probably the guys in line are going to fact check that, but I'm pretty sure that's right. But that's a lot of gas, and a lot of times what you see on a well is you see a pretty aggressive decay. Right, so you flip the well on, not to discount what the oil and gas guys are doing, but you flip it on and starts producing gas. It's making 400 MCF a day. Fantastic. 4 days later, it's making 200 MCF a day. A week later, it's making 100, and now it's going to hold 100 for a long time. Okay. The problem is that decay curve is not well known until the draw actually happens. Now, what a lot of people do is that they'll connect several wells together, right? And so we're trying to collect this gas. Well, if you're going to put in the infrastructure to connect several wells together, one asks themselves, why am I selling it to these Bitcoin guys that are super cheap, that are targeting 4.5 cent power? Why don't I just sell it to the pipeline or the midstream? Okay. With natural gas, we've got the cost of gas, as well as the cost of the generator, the O&M, the uptime, the overhauls, the top ends, yada, 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 leasing the equipment, having people on site before you even get to the electrons, right? So I'm not a generator guy. I've been down generators a couple times. We looked into buying a bunch of generators for an opportunity that fell through, thankfully. And I have found that I will come take your power. If you want to take on the risk, or I shouldn't say the risk, the endeavor and the adventure of a generator, I will take your power, or Heather will find someone that'll take your power.
I will find someone.
Yeah, but my space is Bitcoin mining, and my space is running an efficient, clean, high uptime mine. My space is not changing generator oil or training techs or replacing the cam on a 1.8 megawatt generator. It's just not my thing.
Heather, did you have something to say?
I was just going to say, I mean, he's talking about a lot of the Bitcoin miners don't want to do the generation of that. So I think that's probably what I would add to that is that, like Sean's saying, they want to do the Bitcoin mining. They don't want to do the generation. I have a lot of gas opportunities right now, but most of them want someone else to do the generation and take care of that piece of it, and they want a Bitcoin mine.
And you want to give someone a great afternoon. Call up like Caterpillar or your local generator guy, and you say, hey, look, I want to buy a new generator, and I'm going to put 8,100 hours on that generator this year, and I'm going to run it at 85% load factor. I want you to tell me how much it's going to cost to have you guys come out and overhaul it. And he's going to be like, that's an oil change every 17 days. Are you sure? Yes, sir. I'm in Bitcoin mining. I don't mess around.
Have they tapped into the Bitcoin mining market yet?
It's a lot.
There's a huge opportunity. I
It's
think.
a lot of hours. It's an incredible amount of hours.
I also like how in that answer we got the fact that the word risk is synonymous with adventure and endeavor. I'm going to use that from now on, so thank you for that. Two great questions. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
Anything else? Because we do have a mic. Oh, what's up?
Yes, since we're discussing energy sources, how about solar? What's your experience in solar?
I have a little. I have bad thoughts about solar. What about you?
All right.
We have some.
Solar is a fantastic opportunity. Typically, the problem with solar is I have to run at night. And if I'm running for any kind of enterprise or business type case, I have to run overnight. Even in some of the best solar regions in the States, we're looking 9 or 10 hours of true solar radiance when I can get a decent load off my panels, right? So I have to supplement the grid 14 hours, okay? We talked about earlier, I kind of set Heather up and I said, what's the worst thing you can hear? And that is load study hasn't been submitted. And it's ironic that you asked that question because one of the sites that we're looking at right now is an amazing solar opportunity. The folks that own the solar panels have bent over backwards to share with us the information and to help us truly integrate with their team. However, we just recently found out that no one has submitted the load study for me to run overnight.
I don't know if you remember, but that's the worst thing you can hear.
It is. Because if I come in, and I made the example earlier of this gentleman in the back and the one in the front, if I'm going to come in and develop a site and I'm going to spend $200,000 or $300,000 a megawatt, I need to run 24/7. Even if they're my own machines and the solar's super cheap, I literally cannot pay for the development of the site if I can only run 10 hours out of the day. So we get into the question of, is there load available there? Turns out there is. Let's hope that there's load there. But why am I running on solar now if there's load 24 hours a day? Because you can't make a request for load, again, in the Texas deregulated market, for non-sunlight hours. Okay, it's 24/7 firm load. So if I'm now making a request for load at night, but I'm only going to run 14 of 12 hours or 14 of 24 hours, my load factor is going to take a hit. And if anyone who's familiar with the billing cycle and the way utility works, the first 5 minutes of every billing cycle, a third of my bill gets calculated the first 5 minutes of the billing cycle. So it's a race to the end of the month at that point. So now we're in a situation where I am opting not to take load during the day and raising my nighttime price, which means my solar price has to be really good to make that worth it. Well, on the other side of the table, there's the guy who's running the solar panels, and he's saying, hey man, like, what do you mean you want me to sell you my solar power 20% under market? And I'm like, I need it 20% under market, or I'll just buy it on the grid. And so that's the constant problem. Solar is an excellent opportunity, and there is a lot of opportunity there, but it's just there's some nuances. I think that there's a lot of advantageous work that can be done in the day-ahead markets, in the hedging market, in the firm fixed load, as well as some plays with ancillaries, where a solar company and a Bitcoin company could work hand in hand and not treat each other as a customer-client relationship, but treat each other as more of a partnership. And that would allow the solar company to be very aggressive and say their day-ahead market, because they know if they don't win bids, Bitcoin guy is going to take it. So I think if they work more symbiotic and almost act as a physical hedge on site, there's some big opportunity there. But again, when you're talking about $150 million contract over 10 years for solar power on something like 100 megawatts, that's a lot of money, and it's hard to get in a good symbiotic relationship with someone over $150 million.
How about the addition of batteries? Does that mitigate anything?
Again, I think battery technology is fantastic, especially some of the new age stuff that's coming out. However, it becomes an issue of return on investment and time to capital recapture. Okay, when you set up batteries or even a large solar array, you're targeting, it's a utility, right? So we want to make sure that the kids at school have power, just like maybe grandma can run her heater or her cooler at night, right? And everybody in between there. So when a utility comes in and acquires batteries and solar panels and stuff like that, it's for a longevity, and it's for a play for the entire grid. When you start looking at an individual business case for a Bitcoin mine, you start running into situations where price of power is 14 or 15 cents, right? Some of the more top-end Bitcoin mining machines right now are pushing 18 to 20 cents per kilowatt hour, right? So it's just not there when it comes to capital recapture. However, if there's underutilized battery storage, right, I think that that's an excellent opportunity for a Bitcoin mine or a data center to come in, and I would say almost like reverse supplement the battery storage. We have underutilized battery storage, let's say, that was invested by a community or a utility. A Bitcoin mine can now come in, get the price that they need to make it work, and we're providing a use case for these batteries that have been installed.
Great question. And if y'all have any other questions, we will continue it over there, but we do need to start wrapping up. That's awesome. I might actually, there's a whole, I could spend an actual hour, I think, talking about solar, and I think that might be a good topic. So thank you for asking that question. Real quick, give it up for Heather and Sean for coming out. This is a great talk. I've enjoyed this. I'm actually serious. We're gonna clip some of your little tangents and go on there. Yeah. Real quick, just need to do some housekeeping. We only have 3 events before our next one. I don't know if y'all were here last month, but I had 2 slides of events because we had so many this past month. We're all kind of okay, we're going to pump the brakes just a little bit. But we do have a fun first-time event happening. 5 questions to ask your financial advisor, hosted by Space member Mark Link. It will not be on site, so make sure that you notate where it is. You can also go to denver.space and get all that information on our events there. And of course, first Thursday of the month, we do have Bit Devs. And then the Friday right after that, this is going to be the first Friday in October, we will have Beer and Bitcoin here at the Space. We're with the first Fridays of Rhino. So all of this beautiful art, which is for sale on scarce.city if you'd like to purchase any, will be showcased to the normies of Denver and we are going to be here celebrating that. And we also want to thank Easy Entrees, Silver Spoons Catering. They always have the best meetup food. Find me a meetup that has better food than this one. I'll give you $100. Please don't actually. But I'm confident though.
You
On
need
Compass's bill, right?
Sufficient taste testing on your part.
Yes,
right?
yeah. I do need to verify that. So bring samples as well. And also, this is a meetup sponsored by Compass Mining, and we wanted to let y'all know you can start mining with Compass within the next 24 hours. If you head over to our website, we have new miners and also a marketplace where people who are mining with Compass can sell their machines. And not going to give any spoilers, but there are some people who are offloading machines for like $1. And so, yeah, go look at that, compassmining.io. And I'm super excited to finally announce this. People have been holding a gun to my head to stop talking about it. But next month, we will have Bitcoin mechanic and Matt Hill here to talk about mining with Ocean, block templates, all that stuff that's happening on Twitter right now that is going to be scarily spicy. So we might actually have to hire security here, but because we have people who wear knots hats and we have people who wear core hats. But please come back next month for that. That's going to be. I'm so excited for that one. And now we're going to give away a miner. But while Lior brings me on my cup, you're going to scan this QR code and fill out this survey, please. Please, please, please do this. It's just a couple of questions asking you how you found out about this, what you'd like to see. We just want to make this the best meetup for you. And so we want to do that by getting your feedback directly. I look at all these responses. This is only the second month we've done this, but I take everyone into consideration. I got y'all's feedback last month. Sorry, Hobbyist Miner, y'all don't want to talk about shit coins. Love you, Hobbyist Miner. But yeah, no, I get that, okay? But yeah, please scan that, fill that out for me, and we're going to continue to make these meetups great. While you do that...
So a second. So someone in the room is going to win the machine.
Yes.
What are they going to do with it?
We'll figure out. We did bring a cord though, so you can plug it up with maybe some extra help. I'm happy to help you out if you got any questions. But this S19 is going to go to. How about you pick a ticket? Actually. Oh wait. You were really screwing up the flow. I'm just kidding. No, yeah, give him a ticket. Bring that one up here, Lior. Wait, Lior, I have to actually be able to pull his ticket.
We better.
Oh, yeah, all right.
Thank you.